I bet you can't go 30 seconds without seeing something a graphic designer created. Seriously, look around. Everything you're looking at was designed by someone. Most people think graphic designers just make logos. And honestly, before I started studying graphic design, I thought the same thing. But the reality is that graphic designers are behind everything you see every day. The coffee cup you're holding, the app on your phone, the menu at your favorite restaurant, the packaging in the supermarket, and the Instagram posts from the brands you follow. Today, I want to show you what graphic designers actually do, what I'm learning as a graphic design student, and what does a graphic design project looks like from start to finish. Hi, I'm Pia. I'm a graphic design student from Buenos Aires, and one question I get all the time is, so what exactly do graphic designers do? And honestly, that's a fair question because graphic design is one of those careers that you see every day but very few people understand. When people hear graphic design, they usually imagine someone just sitting in front of a laptop and creating logos every day. But graphic designer is much bigger than that. At its core, graphic design is visual communication. It's about helping people understand information, recognize brands, navigate products, and connect with ideas through visuals. So let me show you what that actually looks like. Every single day you're interacting with graphic designs hundreds of times without realizing it. When you choose one product over another in a store, that's often branding. When you instantly recognize a company by its logo or by its colors, that's also branding. When an app feels intuitive and easy to use, design plays a role on that also. Graphic design isn't decoration, it's communication. Good design helps people understand something quickly and easily. A lot of people think graphic designers only make logos, but a logo is actually a tiny part of a much bigger system. For example, when creating a brand, a designer might work on the logo, the color palette, the typography, packaging, social media, business cards, menus, promotion materials, and a lot more. Everything needs to work well together. That's why design projects often involve much more thinking than people expect. Let me show you an example. When I work on a branding project, I don't just open Illustrator and make a logo. I usually start with research. Who is the audience? What is the personality of the brand? What emotions should people feel? What makes a business different? Then I create mood boards, explore typographies, explore color palettes, collect inspiration, and only then I start designing. Most of the work happens before even the logo exists. Talking head, one thing that graphic design school taught me is that design isn't about making things pretty. It's about making decisions. Every color, every font, every layout, there's always a reason behind it. And honestly, that's what I love about design. It's creative, but it's also strategic. You're solving problems while also creating something visual. One thing that nobody talks about is how much design happens behind the scenes. People always see the final project. They don't see the version 1, the version 14, the version 24. They don't see the concepts that didn't work or the hours spent making tiny adjustments. Design is creative work, but it's also patience. A lot of patience. I think it's impossible to talk about graphic design today without talking about the reality of the industry. Job market is definitely more competitive than it used to be. There are more designers than ever, there are more agencies, more freelancers, more students graduating every single year, and now AI tools that can make logos, illustrations, and social media posts. Because of that, people assume graphic design has become easy. I've even heard things like, why would I hire a designer if I can just make it in Canva? Can't ChatGPT or AI just make a logo? It's just putting fonts together. And honestly, I understand why people think that. If you have never gone through the design process, it can look like the final deliverable is the work. But the logo is in the work. The strategy is, the research is, understanding the audiences, knowing why one color communicates trust and another one communicates energy, building a visual identity that makes a business grow. Those are things that AI can assist with, but they still require human judgment, experience, and understanding. I actually use AI as part of my workflow sometimes, and I think it's a great tool, but I don't see it as something that can replace designers. I see it as the same way Photoshop didn't replace designers and Canva didn't replace designers. They changed the way we work. The designers who adapt will probably work faster and differently than before, and the ones who refuse may struggle a bit. At the end of the day, people aren't paying for someone who can just click buttons in Illustrator. They are paying for someone who can solve a problem. And I think that's the part most people underestimate. So, is graphic design a competitive career today? Absolutely. Is AI changing the industry? Without a doubt. I also think that good design has never been more valuable because when everyone can make something that looks decent, the people who understand strategy, communication, and human behavior become even more important. So, what does a graphic designer actually do? We communicate. We solve problems, we help brands tell stories, we help people understand information, and yes, sometimes we also make logos. But graphic design is much more bigger than that. As I continue studying and building my career, I'm learning that graphic design isn't really about aesthetics. It's about helping people connect with ideas through visuals. And honestly, that's what makes it so interesting. If you're studying design or thinking about studying design or you're just curious about the creative industry, let me know what surprised you the most. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video.